Nah, bongs. I used to not smoke, and the reason I used to do it is because basically it's Proto's fault, because we used to sit and play computer that much. I only had enough time to smoke a bong in between matches to get stoned. Yeah, but it's it's like a fucking. It just hits you instantly, and then.
All right, time to finish this one off.
So you got a dab. Hit that dab, man.
Okay,
hit that dab.
Head to the next.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's Saturday night, people. Well, to be fair, it's Sunday morning. It's the morning for me. But anyway, if you're joining the stream, welcome. Conversations with myself, the bad Mr. J, the gangster, and DocSubtone, of course. Saying my streams don't work.
You're going with the 5-iron here. Oh yeah, this one's heading for the green.
Get out. Ooh, you're making me put my grinder down now, Doc. That was some close shit. That was some close shit.
Now looking forward to this hole.
The 5-iron. What am I using? Oh, I think about the. Please be. Oh, you piece of shit.
Your approach is heading left.
Do you know how far right I sent that?
Well, missed the green
16
there on that one.
Motherfucking.
We're in the green side rough currently. Let's be careful with that chip.
Yeah, but I'm all for that cause that we were talking about earlier. Like,
oh. Nice little chip in for birdie. That was a fine shot.
Welcome to the stream. Welcome. Right. No, yeah, but and I'm all for that cause. If we make a petition, get bad Mr. J laid by 2 hookers, I will stream that live on YouTube. Guaranteed.
And that putt drops on in for par.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, still 2 under after that one.
Got to be loads of people, and I'd get them naked.
This one up on a par 5.
Prostitutes, yeah, whore. Yeah, share.
Tee shots looking fairway bound.
Why? No, you wouldn't, mate. You wouldn't.
Okay, let's see what she's working with
no,
here.
the special rules. You have to use a condom. You have to know. You have to use a condom. Yeah, you can. No, you can. No, that's bullshit. You can. No, you don't kiss the ones that have got crusty shit around their mouths. Put it that way. You know what I mean? You see, you just don't pick. You don't pick the one that looks disgusting. Oh man, I've kissed some fucking. I'm on stream. God damn. No, I haven't. No, I wouldn't. I've never had a prostitute. I've never done that in my life. Never done that in my life. No, I've never done that. Now, I've had a bad lifestyle. I ain't gonna lie. Everyone, if you know me, if you know the stream, you know me, then you know that was true, and I have slept with prostitutes. I'm not proud of that I've slept with them, but I have. Many. Yeah, let's not get into it anymore. But yeah, welcome to the stream. Like, share, and subscribe for talk on more hookers. Dial it in. 1-800 Mr. Lingua.
Come on, get down on that green.
Mate, that's no shit. Yeah, no, did you just hang on? Right, let's get this out. If you're watching this stream back, even if you're not watching this stream back and you're watching it live, right? At some point in time through this conversation, please interject that anal sex with a man and a female is not wrong. Somebody please, even a female would be great. Don't knock it till you tried it. How is being a vegan not wrong? That's like one of the worst things you could possibly be. It's like being a vegan. I don't care if I'm on stream or not, but a vegan is like being Adolf Hitler. You are a fucking nutter. There's something weird. Pick up a burger, have a steak. You're a Nazi. Yeah, you're a Nazi.
There's 4 feet left on this one.
we should make it a thing. Being a vegan's like being a Nazi.
This one's tracking. He's showing us how it's done.
What's that?
Of the day so far.
Meth weren't around. Meth weren't around back then.
Brought things down to 3 under after that one.
No, it wasn't. I thought it's only just been brought out the last like 25, 30 years.
Wind is blowing left to right.
You'd be smoking meth. Get the fuck out.
Oh, through the branches. Don't worry about it.
You fat. Here you go. Here's some crack. Thing is, just think how many meth heads would be right now. I don't mean to be rude, but 75% of America would be on meth if that was the case these days. Doctor, I can't put the cake down. Smoke this. See me in the morning.
All right, let's get out of this first cut and on our way. Nicely done.
How many times have you made meth, Doc?
Let's see how this goes.
That's not answering my question. We won't get into it on stream. Let's not get into it on stream. Let's not. Yeah. For the foreseeable of this conversation, my lawyer has told me to do nothing but sit down.
This one will be for her birdie.
Should I answer this one? He just shakes his head. Do you know what? My solicitor last time, like, I swear, some of the things I've said in front of, like, one copper came to my cell, right? I can't talk about it. The internet quality is currently not sufficient to support gameplay. They've cut my stream. Now it's because I'm talking about but one of the times. America. C4. ISIS.
This left for par.
Bacon soda.
Nice putt.
Bacon soda. Nitroglycerine. Yeah. Proto-antagonist. Yeah. Bill Cosby. Hang on, give me a minute, Doc. I'm just rolling the doobie-doo.
Well, let's let this fly here on the 9th.
Yeah, I'll take my shot. Do you know what? I do believe that there is certain. I do believe there is certain code words though that will trigger something to like start recording, but somebody would start having
This
to
is looking
listen,
promising.
and they'd straight away be like, "Yeah, this cocksucker's just taking the piss." You know what I mean?
There you go. That's what you want. Alrighty, let's see what she has in store for you here.
Yeah. PlayStation streamers cause massive terrorist threat.
They've gone with the 7-iron. Okay, this one might be a bit long.
That could happen. Diana, the Queen. What's wrong with it? Yeah. Yeah. No, no. Do you know what? Do you know what I know would work? Saying things like Kensington. No. Like no, things like Kensington. 3 o'clock. Boom. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. There's probably someone from MI6 listening in now,
Ziggy,
like, you
this will
little
take you
prick.
to
I've had
400.
to take time out my day to sit and listen to the yeah. Willabooby, naked. Yeah. Schofield, queer. In the butt, in the butt, in the butt.
It's heading towards the hole. And you're finding your way around this course. That's your 5th birdie of the day.
Hey, Duck, have you not seen that dude? He goes around America, right, and he keeps getting onto live. He
Here
keeps
she
getting
is,
onto
7
live
feet
news
out.
feeds, and she goes, "Oh, what? Yeah, fuck around the pussy." I think that's so cool. Fuck around the pussy.
And that will be for
Mm.
bogey. And after that one,
Fuck around the
gone
pussy.
up to 4 under par.
He had a mask on her. He's got. It's where he's got the mask on. He's gone, "I've got something much scarier." And they're like, "Okay, fuck around the pussy."
That wind blowing right into our face on this one.
Hang on, Doc. I'm just rolling it. Fuck around the pussy. FRIP. That's a brilliant one. Hang on, FHRIPY. I know. I'm dyslexic. It's hard for me to do, Doc. I was thinking about pussy, and I thought, why? Yeah, that's what I know. I was thinking about the last letter in pussy. That's what I was thinking. I know my mind works
That's
weird.
too bad.
Mm.
All right, she's ready to go. Let's see what this hole brings.
Anyway, this is what I remember, because you got it wrong earlier, and I'm going to correct you where you got it wrong, right? He did
This
say
one's heading to the fairway, I think.
that when he was at Sector 4, the bloke there died before him, right? Yeah? You're saying that that's what he was led to believe, right? Yeah? Yeah, he was led to.
All right, let's get out of this sand.
He was led to believe that, but then he also said what his job was. He was working on the propulsion system of how the craft moved. That's what his. because of how he was worked, like, because you know, that's what kind of, he was like a genius at, you know, he was like rocket and all that shit, and but the other Honda Civic, yeah, Honda Civic, that's what got him in the papers, that's what got him noticed. He was driving round to work in it.
Coming in for a landing here on the green. This one's 8 feet away. This putt's good so far. And that will drop for birdie number 6 on the day.
Yeah. And the other thing, he said these crafts had been found.
She's got
Like,
about 8 feet
around
to the
the
cup from
Egyptian
here.
times. These had been in the ground for a long time. And you know, honestly, how do we know, right? If like, this is why I just wish they'd release and just tell the truth. Because how do we know? Yeah, but were these beams from somewhere where
bring things down to 5 under par.
they were alive at that time, but now it's been that long that they've already passed and gone, and they were already trying to reach out for something, you know what I mean? But we don't, you know, they could be dead now, you know.
Should be a good result.
You know, for all we know, that was. For all we know, they went through a black hole, ended up on the other side of the universe, crash landed on Earth.
All right, let's see what she has in store for us on this one.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, of course there is. Of course there is. Of course there is. Of course there is. If what I'm saying, if one species has actually been here,
about 190 or so to the pin.
You've got to think, how do we know far away? And I know this is going to sound like complete fairy tale bullshit, but this is just how my mind works, right? How do we know far away there isn't already intergalactic beings, right?
Come on,
that already. Oh, come on, that'd be nice. No, goddamn. That already travel to each other's planets, and they're already like a community in themselves. Do you know what I mean? They're already sort of like the galaxy's already, like, you know what I mean? There's Mars. There's our neighbours, Mars. You know. Yeah.
And this is your third shot.
Yep. Yeah. China would be involved, I reckon.
Coming through with the chip.
Yep. He wanted to be heard. Yeah, as a power, like, I am a fucking world leader, and I am a big country, like, and I can have the potential to fuck you
and
up.
Here she is, 6 feet out.
Yep. Yep. I think, I do believe that.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Here we go, birdie putt. Looking good. You're cooking out there. 7th birdie so far.
I believe. Yeah, so bad.
Six under for the round.
Yeah.
In this hole, we got a tailwind to deal with.
Yeah.
Looking pretty good off the tee.
I'm a horse today. You know what I mean? Like I'm a horse today.
Let's see what she has in
store
for this
like
one.
that. Yeah. Fair play to him for coming out all these years, you know. You know. He's been horsing around for so long and that. I know what you're saying though, it's just there's too much. But I think another thing that discredits his theory is there's so many fucking idiots and nutcases out there that make up absolute bullshit like, oh, I can talk to these intergalactic beings. Yeah, and they fucking discredit him so much, and I think, apart from fucking my shot up completely, I think he nearly did. But it's like, there's that much shit to discredit it, even though that information, like we were saying, that fucking, what's his name? That fucking Jeremy something.
Wow,
he was the geezer that I saw on the news program saying this is a video that the American Air Force has released and has said it is a UFO. They don't know what it is, and this has been released. It was made in 2019, and he was putting it onto a TV show. Yeah, 2017, I think. Yeah, and he was like, but because there's that much shit out there to discredit it, and all these nutcases that say, yeah, I can talk to Alf and all this shit. People don't want to listen to it because if they're seen to take an interest in it, it's like are they afraid to be had a finger pointed at, like, are you a nutter? What's wrong with you? Like, you believe that shit? Do you know? I think people are afraid to believe it, even though it is so possible, so fucking possible. What?
Hopefully this one will stick.
Yeah.
Well, you're not going to hit every green today. That's all right. Setting up here for your 4th shot.
Yeah. Their own shit, yeah.
Yikes.
Fuck.
Right by
Yeah.
All right, a little 6-foot putt here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, shit. Yeah, but my theory, now that we can actually talk freely about it, I swear, my theory is not far-fetched, right? I honestly believe when the technology that we've sent out there eventually comes back, it's going to say, shit, somebody used to inhabit this world once upon a time, but it was destroyed. I swear it might take 100 years for that to come out, But like, mark my words and mark this stream, I guarantee
Sitting
that
at
one day
5 under
along the
for the
lines,
round.
that's what we're going to find out, that we inhabited Mars, and then we just completely depleted every resource, and at the worst time, because everyone's fighting over resources, like maybe it could have been oil, it could have been hydrogen, yeah. And then I think someone's just gone, all right, fuck you. There's the Big Bang. One country sent one, another country sent one. Game, set, match. But luckily enough, oh, millions and millions of years ago, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's give her. Oh my goodness, you pounded that dry. And just
Yeah.
in the first cut on this one. Oh, a little bit long, possibly. That's
Yeah.
unlucky. Missed the green on that approach.
But I still honestly believe. Yeah. Yep. Because look at it. I'm not being funny. Like, we've got this BC and AC and all this shit before Christ and after death and all that shit. Don't understand half of it, right? Don't get me wrong. But when I want to know when originally things were first started to be documented. Do you know what I mean? When time was first, right, okay, this is the age of the stone men, and we're gonna, do you know what I mean? When was stuff,
Third shot.
when do we have proof of all this?
Here's your fourth
Yep.
shot. Okay, lining up an 8-foot putt.
No.
This putt's going. That one goes down, and that's for a bogey. And back-to-back bogey.
But it's like protoball at that point as well. That's that city somewhere. I don't know where the fuck it is. I can't remember. I think it begins with P. But anyway, they've got these blocks of like the world's like hardest known fucking substance, and they are perfectly millimeter to fucking millimeter perfect.
Okay, after that hole, you'll stay at 4 under par.
No, it was it was like some sort of granity stuff though. One of the world's like. Yeah, I get that, but how can you get these to be so fucking precise? Millimeter to millimeter. Yeah.
Oh, this one's dropping fairway for sure.
Yeah. Do you want to know the one thing? Do you know
nice
the one?
Drive out on this one.
You know the one thing that fucks me up, right? Why the fuck of the world's oceans, but we're going to space?
A little bit off on that swing.
Fuck off. So much shit.
Deep in the spinach.
Yeah, but we could find so much fucking shit out if we just explored the seas. Yeah, but why?
All right, we're out of the dirty stuff into the short stuff here. Let's regroup.
She's
It's
sitting
like,
up here around 135
like
yards to the pin.
I read something. I read something the other day, and I don't know how true it is. Right, we were led to believe the blue whale to be the biggest mammal.
Could be slightly
Right.
too much club.
One was meant to have washed up ashore. I'm not sure where. Bitten in half.
This is what our third shot's looking like.
So how can the blue whale be the biggest thing? If something bit the fucking thing in half. I gotta get my phone and Google that shit. I'm yeah.
This putt's left to save par.
Oh my god. Blue whale bitten in half 2021 in February. Jeez. The fucking size of the bite out of the thing, Doc. Like, the picture I'm looking at, have you got your phone? Jesus Christ.
And this will be a par for her if she sinks it.
But it's not. How come there's too
And
much,
putt
so much of it
drops.
on the net then?
4 under for the round.
What the fuck? To eat it, it just took a... Fuck knows. I still believe megalodons could be real. We don't know what's going on at the bottom of that sea. Did you know what I mean? The big things might
Here
live
we go.
deep.
Let's pop this in the fairway. Great contact. Nice swing.
Maybe it bit off more than it could chew.
Careful of this one. Fairway bunker.
Oh, I fucked
sure
it
what's
here.
gonna
Look, I
happen
could have
here.
caught up a shot here and I fucked it. Get the fuck out of there.
This could be dirty.
Oh, come on. What am I doing? Playing bunker to bunker. Yeah, but do you know,
Here
it's
should
like...
set up around 220 yards out.
Surely the logic should be within people. Let's explore what we've
Taking
got
out the 3-wood on this
before
one.
we go outside of that.
Looks like this will be on the dance floor.
Yeah, but why don't people like see the shit that I've seen from like David Attenborough things? There's something
here's
called
our
Deep
third
Blue
shot.
Sea, right? I swear to God, it's the most interesting shit I've ever seen. There's fish that David Attenborough's caught that can shoot rays of light at other fucking fish to disorientate them so they can eat them.
And this is a desirable outcome. This is,
I saw it.
no more bunker for you.
It was just like, what? They might only be tiny or something, but these, oh, what the fuck? You can shoot rays of light out of its mouth to disorientate another fish.
Okay, here's your fourth.
Like, you know. Just imagine being able to
Nice little
source
chip
how
there.
it creates that power. Like,
Here
why
we
aren't we
go.
looking
Let's-
into shit
let's
like
save
that?
power
You know
on
what I
this
mean? A few hundred fish that could, you know,
Okay, good stuff.
Yeah, I know. But
She's got 4 feet
yeah,
to go here.
war is the most profitable business there is.
For the birdie.
Yeah.
Bringing things down to 4 under after that one.
You know, I mean they found that giant octopus not long ago, and it makes you think. Then I mean, look how much people were at sea all them years ago, when people were fucking, there was pirates and all that sort of era, and there was like swashbucklers and there was people.
They've gone with the
Yeah,
6-iron
how
on
do you
this
know
one.
that shit wasn't real?
Going to the beach.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, this should be fun. Let's see what happens here.
How do you know? There's giant squid.
I don't think I'm liking this.
Oh, they're all going to say no.
A little off on that approach, but that's okay. Fingers crossed for a nice up and down out of this green side bunker.
You know what you're led to believe. Why did I do that? Why the fuck did I club up?
And she's in the bunker. Let's
Yeah.
see how she gets out of this one. Yeah, if you sink this, you could save par.
Yeah. 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 Wouldn't want to get it. Oh,
Yeah. This is for her par.
Yeah. I'm telling you, people don't know what's at the bottom of the sea, and I'm telling you that there could be so much that we don't know, so fucking much. And
This one's for
you
the
know,
bogue.
there could.
Ugh.
Oh, why am I doing this to myself? Why am I doing this to myself? Even my character threw himself on the floor.
Let's see how the numbers add up.
No.
And after that one, your score will go up to 2 under par.
What's the oarfish? Is that the one with the dangly thing in front of its head?
So this tee shot should work.
I think they'd find a lot more.
Okay, let's send this little ball on its way.
Have you ever seen pictures of, like, you know, when they're laying pipeline, and they've got like massive underwater cameras to see the pipeline and all that shit, right? Have you ever seen what they've caught on video?
Well,
Some of the fucking scary shit.
And this is our second shot here on the 17th.
Oh, they call it a Galapagos or something. Yeah, one of the creepiest, weird-looking fucking things in the world.
Bit long, but let's see what happens.
Oh, God damn.
Little too much club on that approach.
Looks like about 105 yards to the pin for her.
But there's some
Here's
freaky shit they pick up.
8 iron. Setting up here now for our third shot. Ah, that would have been nice.
Yep. Mm. Yep. It's 250%. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, but that's the thing. Why aren't people interested?
This left to save your par.
Do you know what I mean? There's mad tales from people that have been at the sea, the shit that they've seen, and just things that they can't explain. And then why aren't we more?
This putt's tracking.
Why are we so interested in
Nice
what's
putt. That's
outside of our world? We don't know what's on the inside of it yet.
She's got a 4-foot putt to go.
Yeah. Well, do you know what got me the other day? Did you hear about that submarine that was washed up, that got destroyed? I think it was an Iranian. There was a mad submarine somewhere that got destroyed. Nobody knew what happened to it. They just lost communication with it, and it fucking broke up underwater. Nobody knows what happened to it. Nobody knows what happened to it. I can't remember.
Looks like this one's in the fairway.
Submarine cut in half. France cuts 2 nuclear power submarines off. No. Don't.
And as we tee off on the final hole, you are only 1 stroke off the lead.
Hang on, let me take this shot. Fuck you, man.
Just in the light rough at the
Sick
moment.
of this happening to me on this course. Come on, fly, motherfucker. Yeah, have you seen the new RoboCop? Brilliant, you need to see that.
And there's some fantastic golf putting for Eagle. And from around.
Do you know what? I can't find it. Indonesian submarine. That was it. Indonesian submarine. Indonesian submarine.
Going with the 5-wood on this one. Looks like this one's heading for the green.
No, they can't get to it because it's a fucking. To get to the depth, it's a significant challenge to get down there.
4 under par if you can sink this right here.
Exactly.
Oh, come on, get in. And and that was fancy. Very fancy indeed. Ending this round with an eagle. To go.
Nearly missed that. Yeah, but you want to explore space. Well, like, okay, I get that, and there is got to be mathematically other things out there, but scientifically, look at the fucking ocean. Look what it has to bring.
I say goodbye. See you next time.
100%. Like that deep blue sea that I was talking about, that actually found that submarine that went down to actually film that certain project, right? They found certain species that no one had ever thought existed. They found species, and that's just what I'm not understanding. It's like there's more to this. There's more to this life than we see right now, and we need to open our eyes. Everyone's saying, "Oh, propaganda, this and all." Everyone's hid. Look what we've got. Look at what we've got to start with. Instead of fucking looking at outside our boundaries, instead of trying to push outside the boundaries, push the boundaries we've got. Find everything there is to find before we try and branch out. No, not a fucking Scooby-Doo. People don't believe. Yep. Yeah. Look how much water there is compared to land mass. You know what I mean? Why aren't we exploring it more? Okay, yeah, it's tough terrain and it's hard to do, but so's going to space. You know what I mean? Uh, yeah. 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 Yeah, it's breathtaking, yeah. But I still think people do be just, you know, information is there. Why aren't people jumping on the bandwagon? Like, hang on, let's find out. That I just don't get it. Be- yep. 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 Yeah. Yep. Oh, let me Google it. Yep. Yep. Mm. But what was that? What about that thing I showed you? That fucking. What about that Boris thing I showed you earlier? Fucking. You can hide. You can find it difficult to hide things from your personal trainer, from your mother, from even your friends. But you will find it ultimately hard to find your true feelings, to hide your true feelings from Google. Just, you know what I mean? But you know what I mean? You check what you've looked at on your phone through your life, and it will scare the shit out of you. Yeah, motherfucker. I know you're weird because you. Let's 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 get it out there where everyone knows. Doc watches doll porn. Let's be honest. And now it's free. Oh, I wouldn't. Yep. Yeah. Oh, I don't want to see that shit. I wouldn't want to see a snuff film. Jeez. I don't get, what the fuck. Like, why would people, like, you're killing somebody, like, what the fuck? Do you know what we should, do you know, yeah. Do you know what we should, do you know what we should try one day? Do you know what we should try one day? Like fucking my mate, me and my mate do it quite a lot. Like we watch something at exactly the same time. No, but over a stream, but doing it over a stream of like watching like a Bob Lazar thing over a stream and being like, what the fuck, you know what I mean? That'd be quite cool. I think that'd be quite interesting if someone did that. No, I ain't watching it right now. I'm playing golf. Unless you want to talk, unless you want to watch it now, and we'll whack it on. Right now, I can't be asked. I want to play. I want to play golf. Twa- Hang on. Hang on.
Hello there and welcome to PGA Tour 2K21. My name's John. And today starts with a par 5. Time to put this in the fairway. What do you say?
One, boom, and we're live. First of all, cheers, gentlemen. Let's have a little toast, relax. Bob, thank you very much for doing this. I really appreciate it. I understand that you've told this story many times. You've been grilled many times, and it's very stressful for you, so I really appreciate your time. For people who don't know the story, there is a documentary. Jeremy Corbell has a documentary out right now. It's called Bob Lazar, Area 51 and UFOs.
Let's see what direction she's going to take on this.
Not Area 51
Don't
and
watch
flying
that video.
saucers. I first heard your story decades ago. I told
Yeah,
you
if
last
you
night
watch
when we
that,
went out
it
to dinner.
sort of
I've
discredits
seen
the whole
pretty much every interview
thing.
you've ever given.
Don't watch
I've
it.
followed the story incredibly closely. But for people who don't know the story, let's give them the bullet points. You used to work at Area 51. And Area 51, God, you went like, huh?
Well, you know, we want to be accurate.
Okay.
Area S4.
Second shot here in the
S4.
first.
Okay.
It's about 15 miles south of Area 51.
Okay.
But
You worked in, how would you describe it?
I guess within the Area 51 compound, you can call that a subset of Area 51.
And you got that job. Before that, you were working
Before that, I had worked at Los Alamos
Right.
National Labs in
Well
New
done.
Mexico.
And
Yeah, so where's
you were
Los Alamos
involved
stuff?
in what kind of work?
Nuclear
Well,
weapon
let's see
development,
how this
physics. I
goes.
mean, they
She's hitting
do
out of the rough.
everything there.
So how do they
What, Las
approach
Vegas?
you to say, hey, Bob, why don't you come on out to the Nevada desert?
Well, the
Is that
way
where Las
this went
Vegas is?
down was,
Yeah.
at that time, it was 1982. I had put a jet engine in my
See,
Honda.
this is the Honda Civic you're on
And
about.
Los Alamos put it on the front page of the paper. Said, Los Alamos man, physicist at the lab, built this 200-mile-an-hour, Honda jet car that I drove to work every day. So, I was known in
Well,
Los
so
Alamos as the guy with the weird car.
fucking
And,
hate
you
emission
could
age,
hear it
didn't
from, a mile away. Anyway,
black
the day
stuff
that
to
came out
work
on the
about.
front page of the paper was the day Edward Teller, the father of the hydrogen bomb, was giving a lecture down there at the lab. And we didn't have much going on that day in our group, and I asked if I could go down there. And I went down there early, and Ed Teller was outside, leaning on a
That'll do
brick
for the
wall there
approach.
and reading the front page of the paper. Now, this is a guy out of history, so I introduced myself. Hey, I'm the guy you're reading about there. And we talked for a little while, and it was cool. Fast
Here we
forward
go
to
with
years
the pitching
later,
wedge
I
here.
moved out to Las Vegas.
Shots
And
going
had,
towards the green
left
nicely.
Los Alamos and, went on to other things. And I wanted to get back into the scientific community. I left to start other businesses. And
Yeah, to
and
work
that
with
sort of thing.
Pace
prostitutes.
on this one
Yeah.
I
is
sent resumes out, and one of them
extremely
went out to Ed Teller and referenced our meeting, back in the day. And anyway, he remembered me
Kidding.
and
Kidding.
gave me a reference, somebody to contact at
Holy-
TGMG.
Well,
And that's
let's
pretty much
just
how
leave
it
it there.
started.
That was
So
a holy effort.
you
Let's just
get
put
a
it
phone
like
call or
that.
a
Way
letter?
out
Like, what do you
there,
get?
and you dropped it right in the cup.
Well, I
Amazing
got
work.
what did I
This
get?
one's for
I got a
Birdie.
letter initially, and went down for an interview probably a couple times, and it was down at EG&G Special Projects, which was
See,
at
this
McCarran
is what
Airport
I'm
at that
saying.
time
Listen
out
to
in Las Vegas.
how
And did they give
detailed
you
he
any
is
sort of
about
job
this shit.
description?
And
What
a
you were
decent little
applying
putt
for?
there.
They said it was for. I can't remember exactly what they did. This was a long time ago.
And after
but
that one,
I think
you
it was
currently sit at 1 under
advanced
par.
propulsion or something like that. Something relatively generic, and they said it's in a remote area. It's going to be some days on, some days off, and it was kind of
And teeing it up
it was
on
kind
the
of
second hole.
not exactly a full-time job, but you might have to be out there for 2 weeks at a time and take 2 weeks off. So it was kind of the work schedule would be kind of broken up.
I'll get fucked.
And did this seem attractive to you, or did it seem weird? How was
No,
it?
it really wasn't weird because people that
no.
work at the test
Water.
site, anybody that's familiar with the area up there, working at the nuclear test site,
All right, she
or
looks
the
like she's
Tonopah
ready
test
to go.
range
Let's see what she
north of
does
there.
off the tee here.
That's typically how things go.
So you had known about it from the scientific community? Because the Area 51 at that time was
No, they didn't say
still
anything about Area
classified.
51.
Okay, so
They just said it was in a remote location, and you just know it was up at the test site.
right.
So, but there was no mention of Area 51 at that time.
So they've done hundreds of nuclear tests in Nevada. That whole area there's giant chunks of Nevada that people.
Yeah, there's a big piece of Nevada, and it's split up into different areas. There's a nuclear test site. There's Area 51. There's the Tonopah test range north of that. There's little sub-areas. There's areas where they test chemical weapons and things like that. So it's all broken up as a, gigantic test area.
So take me back to first day on the job. You accept the job. They take you out there.
Yeah.
Can you
It's,
still hear it, Doc?
the first
Yeah,
day,
yeah,
really,
yeah.
I didn't really get to see a whole lot. The first day was essentially just paperwork. That's when I flew
Looking good
into
off the
Area
tee.
51 proper. And I left McCarran Airport and flew what they call the Janet flights. Just, a passenger plane from
7
Las
for our
Vegas to
third
Area
shot.
51. And it was really just going through a mountain of paperwork that day. From security clearances to
This could be a bit long. Let's
God,
see
there
how
was
it goes.
it was like 2 or 3 hours of just solid paperwork, and that was really an
Ended up just
uneventful first
fine
day.
after all.
When did
And
things
she's
get weird?
setting up in the rough.
When did you realize Like, at what point in time did you say, hey, this is not normal work? Like, this doesn't even seem like it's from this planet.
Maybe a little too
That,
strong
I can't
on
tell you
this.
what day that occurred on because so much time has gone by. The days have kind of fused into one, and I can't separate the days.
Was it a slow burn, or was there
Yeah, this is a long
moment of
putt. Let's check
recognition?
this out. Let's see
Well,
what she does.
the first inkling I had was when I came in. There's this facility that is at S4. It's in the side of a mountain. And normally we had pulled in with the bus and gone around the front through a normal double door.
Shut door.
This time
And
that I went in,
that
there were
will
hangar doors
drop.
open.
This is it.
I went in through the hangar door, and in the hangar door was the disc, the flying saucer that I worked on.
Okay.
I saw
positive
it sitting
thoughts. Let's
there,
save
and
par
we walked
right
by
here.
it. It had a little American flag stuck on the side, and I thought, oh my God, this finally explains all the flying saucer stories. This is just an advanced fighter, and this is fucking hilarious.
Right.
So
Oh, what a
I
long
went by,
ball.
I
That
slid my hands
was
alongside it.
beauty.
I got reprimanded immediately for touching the thing. And there was a guy, an armed guard, that
That
followed
one will
us in
stay
and
right
said,
there at
keep your
1 under
eyes
par.
forward and your hands at your side and just walk in the door. So that was the first time I had seen anything that was weird. It was some time later that I was introduced to my lab partner, Barry, and we had some of the subcomponents of the craft in the lab, and Barry was very anxious to get a new lab partner, so he was very talkative and couldn't wait to show me different things. And it was in the demonstration of the reactor working where it caught my attention to where this is technology that doesn't even exist. So,
Okay, let's
I
pop
mean,
this
that
into
was
the
the first
fairway.
time I knew that this is really something different.
What was it? What was it? What was it
Look at
about
this. Just
reactor
caught it.
that made you think that it didn't exist technologically?
Well, it was I actually have to back up because there were some briefings that I read it
She's got
before
about
that.
150
that,
yards to go.
Certainly gave me the impression that this was going to be a weird job, but this was the first
an
hands-on
8-iron.
thing. This was a
like
small
this one's
reactor
heading for
about
the
the
green.
size of a hemisphere, about the size of a basketball, on a metal plate, and when it was running, it produced a gravitational field of
And
its
here's
own.
your
Now, this
second
is something
shot
that
here
we
on the
can't do.
third.
We can't produce any gravity.
This is
The only way
fucking
we get
mind-boggling.
gravity is from large quantities of mass. But there's no machine we can have that turns on that makes gravity. Like
Oh, come on,
you can
sit
turn on an
for us, ball.
electromagnet and it makes a magnetic field. We can't make a gravitational field. Anyway, this device was producing that.
Nice. Ended up
And
just fine
Barry
after that
said,
shot.
almost like he was
All right,
bragging, go ahead,
19
try
feet
and
to the
try and
cup.
touch the sphere. And I couldn't. It pushed my hands away, just like two like poles of a magnet. So that was.
So like when you take two magnets and you try to press them together and they
Yeah, you
push
have
against
that-
each other?
Yeah, that kind of cushion feeling, but you can't get them together. The closer you put them, the more they push. But
And you felt that physically
with my
your
hand. Yeah. Now there's nothing that does that, and that immediately caught my attention. Going, wow, this
Looking
is
really good.
something else.
What was your thought?
Oh, that'll
when
work.
You
That's
felt
a-
that and
that's a
you
beauty
knew
of a
that
putt.
there was nothing that you were aware of that could produce
Then that connected me to the briefings that I read on the
And this
first
next
day
putt
at
will be
S4
for her
was
birdie.
That, everything that I had read was apparently accurate.
What were you reading?
I read, it was kind of an overview.
You still hear
This
it though?
project was to back engineer the alien craft, and specifically it was to try and
This next
back
one's for
engineer
her
and
power
see if
putt.
we can duplicate the technology with available materials. Now, to do this,
that
they
will go.
split the project into many different pieces for several reasons. They do this on all classified projects.
Sitting at 2 under
nobody
for
has
the round.
complete story, but they compartmentalize everything. And we had the power and propulsion system. So what the briefings they gave me were like a 1 or 2 page overview of some of the other projects.
This is
that were
what you
going
were
on,
talking about,
on
but
the
then
craft.
some of it would be
The only
bullshit.
reason they do
On
that
the
is
fourth.
just in case what you're working on is connected intimately in some way that we don't know of to one of the other projects. You have to know their, their
And
existence.
hopefully this one's
So,
nice and safe in the fairway.
Again, everything from metallurgy to
Okay,
weapon
let's see what she
potential
does
of the
off the
craft.
tee.
And these were all, essentially very short briefings, but mine was just power and propulsion. And it made it very clear that what I read was accurate.
So when you were reading that, before you actually saw the reactor,
Oop, sliced and diced
what were
on
your
that one.
thoughts on what they were describing?
You fucked that one up.
If
Dusty.
you knew that something like that didn't exist, and they're describing it in the briefings, what did you think you were going to see?
I didn't know at the time. I mean, I was reading, I thought, is this some kind of test?
See if you're crazy?
Well, not to see if I'm crazy, you know, a lot of times they'll take in real high security jobs. I mean, they'll intentionally insert nonsense into them. Whether it's to confuse the fact or if for someone was to leak it out, they would carry that information along and know where it came from. So I read through the documents, but, you know, I didn't know if this was, you know, part of some kind of test or,
And setting up about
you know, or what, or was it
yards to the pin.
potentially realistic? I mean, I really didn't consider it being all that possible as far as being the actual thing that I was going to work on at the time.
How did
Come
they
on,
turn
be
it
the right
on?
club.
The reactor?
Yeah.
The reactor can be turned on or turned off in a lot of different ways. The way Barry showed me,
There we
the
go.
hemisphere is
That's
removed.
cooking on this approach.
There's a small tower in the middle. When you put the hemisphere on, the reactor activates. The reactor shuts down. It's load sensing. So if there's no load on the reactor at all, it shuts down. When there's a load present on it, it starts up again.
Load meaning?
You can consider it an electrical load. So although it doesn't necessarily
Sink this, you can
operate
move down
electrically,
to
there's
3
no
under.
wiring that connects any of the subcomponents together whatsoever. They just have to be in the immediate vicinity.
Could be a good one.
It's,
That
the
was
stuff
nice.
is borderline
Back-to-back
magic.
birdies.
And that's essentially where we left it, you know, when I left the project.
So there was no progress made.
And here she
There was
is,
some
6
progress.
feet
I mean,
out.
we did identify, at least we think, some processes and had a rough idea, we think, of what was going on. But I
that
think
one
this is a problem
drops for
that
par.
they've had for a long time. And, you know, I was replacing somebody
And that's going to
that
make
Barry
you
worked with prior
stick
to
right
me.
there
I
at
think
3
there was
under
some
par.
horrific accident that
Yeah, look.
I didn't have a whole lot of information on, but, you know, Barry alluded to that.
A horrific accident, like where someone died, or
Yeah, where somebody died.
because they were trying to
Here we go,
tamper
par
with things or
4
figure
in
out
front of
how
us.
something worked?
Yeah, the reactor in particular.
But yet he let you touch it.
Yeah, I think what they were trying to do was cut into one.
Oh,
Now
Jesus.
they had
Well,
more
that
than
tee
one
shot
there.
looks
and
like
that
it'll
was,
do.
Supposedly there was an unannounced nuclear test, and that's what it was. At the time, remember, they were still doing underground nuclear
And
tests at
she's
the test
ready
site.
to go here, it looks like.
But from what I understand, according to Barry, there was an attempt made. Now, this must have been a pretty desperate attempt because it's not a very scientific process to analyze something that way. But it looked like they used a plasma cutter or something like that to cut into an operating reactor.
How many of these things
We've
did
got
they have?
about
They had
115 yards to the
nine
pin.
craft altogether. I only got hands-on with one of them, so I can't really say what how the others operated.
Did
but
you see the other ones?
yeah, at one time, and only one time, the bay doors that between the hangars were all open, and I could see all the way through.
And were they all exactly
Safe
the same?
approach. Nice.
No, they were all different.
Different shapes?
Yeah,
But they were all from somewhere else.
yeah, absolutely.
Now,
That's
did anyone
incredible.
make any attempt to explain or to tell you where they came from?
Looking nice.
No one is the least bit interested in letting everybody know all the facts. They want to give you the minimum information
sinking
that's
this will take you
necessary
down
to
to
complete
4
your
under par.
task. So you're not getting the story of where they came from. You're not getting the story of how much progress other people are making. You just focus on the small component.
But they gave you some indication that they've been working on these for a while.
Yeah.
When do you think they acquired these?
I really couldn't say.
And she putts.
I think they've been around for a
birdie.
while.
So they bring you into this room. You see this reactor
And
working.
in the hole.
You realize this is nothing that, as far as like the scientific community at current time, has the ability to create.
This one's just a
We
3-footer.
still don't.
What is your life like from that moment on? Is that
Okay,
where everything
moving on.
changes? Because I would imagine the moment you actually make contact with something that's extraterrestrial,
3 under for the
object or
round.
a being, something where you can actually absolutely be certain it's not from here, your whole paradigm, the whole world you live in, is now a different place.
Well, this is the only time it became exciting. You know, the rest of the time, it was really an ominous feeling being at work. But at that time, it was exciting. I mean, this was, now I knew we were on the absolute beyond, actually beyond the cutting edge of science.
Here.
And I was so absolutely excited to be there every single time it was.
Imagine how lucky you would to get to see that shit.
Have a good tee shot.
However, in short order, it began to concern me. We really have no idea what we're talking about. And the excitement kind of turned to dread at some point.
This one's looking pretty dialed.
Because the amount of power we're dealing with is astronomical. I mean, to affect gravity, to produce the
Safely
effects
on the green.
like this equipment does, takes
She's got a long putt here to make.
And I've given the
know what's going to go down.
example before of, you know, taking a small portable nuclear reactor and, you know, putting it back into Victorian times, you know, with the scientists of the time, and just dropping it in a room.
And
come and look at it and see that it's producing power and wonder how it works, and we start taking it apart. And as soon as they get some of the shielding off, people are going to drop dead because of the radiation inside. Now, the people have no idea that radiation even exists back then. But anybody that comes in to check on them will also drop dead. And, you know,
this one's on a good
there's
line.
no reason that exact scenario
stroke on that one. That's
happen
your
with what we're
birdie
dealing
of the day.
with. We have no idea how the physics operate within this thing. The power levels are, like I said, astronomical. Like, it's incredibly dangerous to tinker with something like that. And, you know, in some respects, we were guinea pigs just trying to find out how to make this thing.
So they had a series, as far
Fucking
as
clever shit, man.
surmised. They had a series of different scientists try to back engineer this thing, try to figure out what this thing was, and they would bring in new people and like, let's throw Bob at it.
Yeah, yeah.
And they
I don't know how many, but I knew there was certainly one before me, and I knew he
good off the
died
tee.
during the analysis of the reactor itself.
And you don't know how many have worked on it, and no one gave.
This
any
could have been there
information.
for 50 years. It could have been there for 5 years.
When they're giving you
really
instructions, what
Put
are they
this
saying?
ball down in the
when
fairway.
they're giving you direction, they're showing you all this stuff. Like what are they saying? What specifically? What are they asking of you?
Well, essentially what they ask is what I said. We are just to gather as much information as possible, find out how it operates, and see if we can duplicate it. So,
but they never told you where it was from. They never
I'm sure you
let
didn't
you
plan
ask questions about where it's from.
Well,
God damn.
if the information I read in the briefings was accurate,
in the deep
now
stuff
what I do have
here.
to say is the information that pertained directly to the reactor was accurate. What I read did jive with reality.
Fetched up in the branches here.
In terms of how?
In terms of how it was made, what we saw, how it operated.
Yeah, not the best result there. That was some gnarly stuff you had to hit from.
What was discovered?
She's got 130 yards-ish to the pin.
I'm sorry,
Let's see
the
what she
migraine
does.
is really making it hard for me to think here.
Sorry, no, we talked that before the podcast. You tell everybody Bob is getting a migraine. I know you're very stressed out by this, which is one of the reasons why I appreciate you doing this.
Where was I already?
We were talking about
right. So there was some paperwork that indicated that this was from the Zeta Reticuli star system. Now, how they obtained that, I haven't the slightest idea. But it wasn't just from the Zeta Reticuli star system. It was what they called ZR3. So it was a third planet
And she's
in that
putting for
star
birdie
system.
here.
So there was no other information about it other than that's supposedly where the craft came from. Now, is that true? I don't know. I have no way of verifying that. But that was printed in the same materials that referenced the reactor. Now, I looked that stuff up when I went home. And Zeta Reticuli is a binary star. Two stars that orbit one another. And it's only visible in the southern hemisphere, and it's about 30-some-odd light years away. So that's literally all the information I have about that. I don't know how they found out it came from there.
And you also probably have some suspicions that they give you some disinformation like you were talking about
All right,
before.
get out of here with the car.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever decided to talk about this, they added a bunch of nonsense to make whatever
And
is
that
factual
will keep
look
you at 4
Right.
under par.
Or be able to trace it down. Like, okay, this fax came out, and this Lazar guy said it came from Zeta Reticuli, so they knew it would
when
be
you
me.
read Zeta Reticuli, you're like, what in the fuck is this?
Well, reading all of the stuff, it was, what
Right.
in the fuck is this?
You're like, why did I sign up for this? Like, what?
No, to me, this was cool. This
Right.
was interesting. I was just excited to be out in a secure area, in the middle of the desert. I said, this
Right.
is awesome. I
How
love
old
it,
are you at the time?
I was in my 20s.
Yeah, so you're probably like totally geeked out.
Oh yeah, this was great. I mean, I was excited. So I didn't care. I'm reading through everything, and
So you read through all the Zeta Reticuli thing, but then when you see the actual starship with the little American flag sticker on
Okay,
it,
send this ball
that
away.
was that later or before?
that was before.
So before. So you see the thing before and you say, oh,
This was
is
looking
Where was
okay
that
off the
before?
tee.
hard so many years.
Yeah, I
Well,
can't.
it didn't go as I
Either way,
hoped.
it doesn't matter.
The days
And,
have fused
as you
together.
hoped
It's
to,
so
I think,
hard to
ended
separate
up in the
what
rough.
happened in each visit.
Shouldn't be
to
Do you
too
remember the
awkward
thought
out of here,
process
just in
when
the first
you read
cut.
that it's from Zeta Reticuli?
Yeah, it didn't hit me like a ton of bricks or anything. It was just like, yeah, okay. And,
You think it was bullshit?
I don't know.
You just
I
realized.
don't, now
That'd
I
be
don't.
nicely.
I mean, because when I read it, I hadn't verified anything, and this was just a bunch of stuff I was reading, and I thought maybe after this they're just going to give me a test and see what I can remember in
Right.
crazy information.
Right.
Ooh,
But
shit, bro.
like I said, when I finally went in with Barry
This one's 8 feet away.
and had hands-on experience with what they were talking about, it took on a completely different meaning.
Looking good.
So there's a plate.
Well
there's this
done
thing that looks
out
like
there.
half
That's
a
a fifth
basketball. and when
birdie
it's
on the
you
day.
can't come anywhere near it. You can't touch it.
Right.
How is what is gravity about that? Like the concept
She's
of gravity.
got
Most
a
people's
4
gravity is
foot
bringing something
putt.
towards it.
Right.
From
Well, I
here.
guess you would say it's anti-gravity. It's gravity shifted 180 degrees. It's anti-gravity.
That'll drop the birdie.
And did they have any understanding about what could possibly create this effect?
Bring things down to
Did they
5
have
under
any
for you.
areas where they'd like you to look into?
No, they knew there was a fuel source in it, and they were proficient at making it work.
Taking
And
this
again,
one with
my
the 8
analogy
iron.
to something like this is you can drop a
looking
motorcycle
good.
off in the wagon train days and just leave it with the keys parked outside, somebody's place. Everybody will come around it and they'll poke and prod, and eventually they'll turn the key, get it to
Okay,
start,
let's see what you do here.
and become proficient at riding it.
Yeah.
But they won't be able to understand what the hell's going on. They won't be able to make the plastic fender, much less anything else. And I think that's exactly the state we were at. We played around with the parts long enough before I got there where they could make the reactor operate, take the fuel out, and know that it makes it work.
Shot's coming in nicely.
How exactly what was going on in the reactor.
And that's another green in regulation. All right,
I
8
think we
feet
made
to
some
the cup.
progress on what was going on inside, but I don't think anybody really knew anything. They could just watch what was going on and make note of it.
This
How
putt's
long
good
were
so
you at?
far.
I'd say
That
about
was a good
6
putt,
months.
and
or
it
so.
drops
And
in
what
for birdie
progress
number
was made?
6 on the day.
Well, we came up with a bunch of
I want to know why he was only there for 6 months.
reasonably good ideas about
She's
how
got
the reactor
5
worked.
feet to the cup
And
from here.
one of them was the base, the square base of it was essentially like a cyclotron, which is a small particle accelerator,
For the
a circular
bird.
one. Particle accelerators and linear particle accelerators are just a
And after that one, you're at
long
6
tube
under.
essentially, and they accelerate particles with high voltage and radio frequencies till they reach high speeds. But a cyclotron does that in a small circular area. And there's this very heavy element fuel, element 115, something that wasn't on our periodic charts at the time.
But it is now.
It is now, yeah.
When did it become on the periodic table now, the way the charts now?
I don't remember. Do you remember when they...
2004, Darmstadt, Germany, I think, is where they first fabricated 4 atoms. They lasted 220 milliseconds with the atoms. It's nothing, right? And then it later was discovered a couple more times they could fabricate it. and
Okay,
they
let's
gave
put this
they gave it a
ball out
place then
there.
on the periodic chart. After that, called it Moscovium.
So they told you about this stuff in 1982?
Yeah,
Looks
well,
like this tee
we
shot's
kinda-
coming in for safe landing.
What year was this?
It was 88 and 89 when
you
I
were
was
there.
there.
Oh,
82 is
all
when
right.
I
Second
was
shot
in
under
Los
10.
Alamos.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So 88, 89, they told you about this stuff. So this was not like.
No, they didn't tell me about it. That's one of the things that this group came up with. The God, I keep losing my train of thought with this thing.
So this
Go out
one
there, champ.
area, this element 115 was the fuel.
Yeah, it was the fuel.
This one's looking good.
The world will forgive you for having a migraine.
It's really hard to think through this.
Goes
Just
to
give me a
7
minute.
Just give you more
I just
booze.
want to say one. Yeah, definitely. I just want to say one thing. You know, Bob, for the last 30 years, people have just been on the attack on Bob. You know, getting to know him, the personal effects on his life. It's really hard to understand unless you meet his
Sure.
family and his
Getting there.
wife. I mean,
Nice
this is the
putt. That's
last
for
thing he
birdie
wanted to fucking
number
do, was have to
7
talk.
on the day.
Yeah, we should explain that, Chairman. That you and I had this conversation. I watched your documentary. We had this conversation, and I said, I have to
And
talk
7
to him.
feet.
Yeah.
The
to the cup
document,
from here for
there's
her.
been detractors. There's been a bunch of people that called bullshit on many of the things that you've said. But over time, many of the things that you talked
Yeah,
about,
that putt
even
will
in
drop
the
for birdie.
80s, have proven to be true. Things that people said were not true were proven to be true. Element 115 was one of
And
them.
after that one, you're sitting at
Right.
7
Right,
under.
right. Element 115, the fuel they had was stable. In other words, it didn't decay. It wasn't emitting radioactivity. When they synthesized the 2 or 3 atoms of the 115, it did decay, and it was not a stable element. So they're kind of two different things. But this is kind of typical. Elements always have, or pretty much always have, stable isotopes and unstable isotopes. Like I think cesium has like
Looks like
30
this one will be
unstable
safe in the
isotopes
fairway.
to it. So, all right, well, hydrogen, for example, you're familiar with hydrogen gas. It's stable. It's not radioactive. But there's also 2 other types of hydrogen, deuterium and tritium.
Okay, let's
And
plunk her in
deuterium
the
isn't
fairway.
radioactive. It's another stable isotope of hydrogen, but tritium is radioactive. Now, they're all hydrogen, but they just have different amounts of neutrons. So it's the same thing with other elements and element 115. Depending on the amount of neutrons it has,
And this one is around
designates the
180
isotope,
yards
but
to
it's
the pin.
115. They will continue to take or experiment and try and make 115 at different isotopes, and I'm sure eventually they'll
Could
come up
be
with
in the
a
rough
stable
here.
version. But it's the stable version that has the properties
See you
that we're
later to
talking
that
about.
ball.
So they somehow or another had acquired a stable version. Did they say that the stable version had come with this craft?
Yeah, it absolutely
It did.
came with the craft, yeah.
So at the time, you having a firm knowledge of the periodic chart and knowing what was real and what wasn't real, what was your reaction to having this stable element 115 that wasn't even supposed to exist?
Well, everything was impossible.
Right.
I mean, down to the metal. I did get a chance to look inside
love
the
that.
craft on only one occasion, and this was important because where the reactor sat might have been critical to how it operated,
Here's a look at their
since
5 iron.
everything operates without
Oh,
any
yeah, this one's heading for the
interconnection, so the
green.
placement of components might be critical. So they allowed me to go inside and look at it. Again, I forgot where the hell I am.
So you're going into this craft, and what are
Setting
you
up
thinking
here for
when you're
your
inside of
4th.
it? Like, what are you seeing?
It's a very ominous feeling because there are no, first of all, everything is one color. It's like a dark pewter color, and there are no right
Superb
angles
shot,
anywhere.
especially hitting out of
It's
that
as
rough.
if somebody took, I've said this before, somebody took a model and fashioned it out of wax and then heated it just for a short time so everything melted. Everything looks like it's fused together. Everything has a radius of curvature where 2 items meet. It's a really weird looking thing.
Close.
But
And she's
there
putting
was
this
almost
next
nothing
one for birdie.
other than a small foldable hatchway that looked recognizable. Everything was really unworldly, to pick on it, a way to describe it.
So you get inside this thing, and it's designed for something that's much smaller than a human being.
Yeah, you can't really stand up till you get to the very center of
And
it.
how tall are you?
And that
I'm
putt drops.
5'10".
And what do you think this was designed for?
I'd say something close to half my height.
Wow. So these little 3-foot
Good luck on
tallish
this one.
creatures.
Par save,
Yeah,
possibly.
and the seats were small too. I
And
mean,
on
obviously it was made for something small. But there is no, like there's
7 under for the
nothing else
round.
in there. There's just seats, the reactor, and some of the subcomponents. There's no control panels. There's no bathroom. There's no decorative components or artwork or anything that you would recognize or trim. I mean, it's just a very bare bones thing.
You're not
And-
seeing any screens.
Well, there are archways around it that are part of the superstructure, and one of the archways can become transparent. When I was in
Here's
there was
their
another group
8
working on one of the
Oh,
archways.
this one might be
and
past
you
the
could
green.
call that a screen, more or
Well,
less.
let's see what you can do on this one.
So through that archway, it would maintain the solidity, the solid, whatever metal it was,
Yeah,
but you could
yeah,
see
it
through
just
it.
became transparent.
Great swing
I
on
saw that
that one.
happen once or twice before I left.
Did you ask any questions about what the fuck?
No,
that
there's
was?
no asking
There's
questions.
no asking questions.
No.
But when you
Yeah, I mean, now that's not that impressive. We do have some liquid crystal materials that are like that. You know, they
Yeah, I've
have
seen that in
smart
bathrooms.
glass. Yeah, they call it smart glass. So this is just, and I don't know if the craft is made of, you know, an advanced metal or a ceramic. It was cold to the touch, so you know, I would lean
And
more
again,
towards a metal.
you're not allowed to ask questions.
No, the only they work on the buddy system, so I can only exchange ideas and talk to Barry. Now
You get
this
down to 8
really
under par for
interferes
the
with
day
science,
if you sink this.
because science is based on free discussion, and ideally you get a bunch of guys together, exchange ideas, work on problems, and that's how things move forward. But they're so over the top concerned about security, they split everything off, and everybody becomes
Man, you're
stagnant.
making this
It-
fun to
it-
watch. That's your 8th
it just
birdie of the
destroys
round.
any of the progress you can make, or at least makes it go so slow. I think they wind up shooting themselves in the.
She's got 4 feet to go here.
What, you think that's why you got kicked out after 6
And
months?
that putt drops for bogey. And after that one, you are
Yeah,
at 8
and that's
under par.
a thing that I think that he's been like, do you know what, fuck you, I'm gonna leak it, you're gonna sack me, I'm gonna fucking tell the world it's true, like. Yeah.
And this holds a par 4.
Foot.
Which is probably why they arrived at this bottleneck.
There you go. Yeah, I think it is real. I want it to be real.
That they
Looking
need
good
to get
off the
this
tee.
madman with a jet-powered Honda to come in and see what he could do.
I think that was an act of desperation. I think they wanted someone that thinks out of the box, and let's just give this guy a try here, because they weren't, and they
Alrighty,
might
let's see
have
what
done
she does here on this
4
one.
more times since you know, up to the point in time today, assuming they're still working on this thing.
And when you see this craft and you're inside, was there any indication that there was an area that they would use to control it, to pilot? Was there a pilot seat? Was
There were 3 seats. They
And
sat
from
around.
here, she's
the
looking at
reactor
around
was in the dead
155
center
yards
of
to the
it,
pin.
and then equidistant around there were 3 seats.
so
And that's all. There
Here's
was
a 6 iron
large.
from them.
They're not consoles. They're large rectangular objects, also spaced equidistant around the center. There's nothing on them. There's no buttons. There's no lights. There's
and
no
they look
control.
the same color.
Alright,
the
here's
same
our
Everything
second
is the
shot
same
on the
just a
color.
different
13th.
shape.
Right. And directly underneath them, there's 3 levels in the craft. The main level is what we're talking about. Directly under that, those are the gravity amplifiers, the big rectangular objects. Underneath them are the gravity emitters that look like, for lack of a better
It's
word,
tidy.
a trash can hanging on a pipe. 3 of
You
those.
have this putt
And
to
then
get down to 9
the
under
top
par.
layer, this is just my personal belief. I think that has to do with a navigation or their version of a computer with some planar panels, sensor panels around the craft that we would call portholes, but they're not portholes. They're just
Oh, it
black
could be.
areas. And I think that just determines its
Oh, yeah.
position
Second
in space.
consecutive birdie.
But I
I like the way this is
I
going.
physically was in the center section and I stuck my torso in the bottom section and hung upside down so I could see
7 feet out.
how the gravity amplifiers were positioned.
What is the roughly the size of this thing?
It's I don't remember from being there, but after all this stuff was over, I had John Andrews, a guy from the Testers Model Corporation, and we sat down and tried to figure out from what I saw and known sizes of things, and we came up with 52 feet in diameter. And
So
I think that's
fairly small.
yeah. So I think that's a fair,
For the birdie.
reasonable guess.
Now you said there's 9 of them, and you got a brief glimpse at the other ones.
Sitting at 9
how are
under
they
for the
different?
round.
Oh, they looked completely different. One looked like I called it Jello mold, and it looked like a classic Jello mold with the rippled sides to it. One was a very flat disc, like a
Teeing off now in
like
a
a
long
straw
par
hat
four.
or something like that. That was sitting up on its edge, and the thin part of it it looked like a projectile had been fired through the edge of it. So I don't know if they were attempting
Hopefully
to
this
see if the
sticks to
metal
the,
could be
fairway.
penetrated, or if that's where the thing came from. Maybe it was shot down.
Okay, let's see what she does
But
on
that was the only
this
one where I
hole.
saw there was, actual physical damage to it.
See, I reckon that
And
would have
that
been the Air
one
Force
was
or some shit.
roughly the same size. They're all.
They were kind of too far away to tell.
And there was several teams that were working on the propulsion system, so there was different teams that were working on these different aircrafts?
I don't know. I could
Okay,
only
you are in
assume.
the rough, and just so you know, you are deep
Now,
down
when
in
you're
the rough.
sitting in this thing and you're looking at this otherworldly craft, your goal is to try to figure out how this thing functions.
Well,
Your
the
goal is to
approach
try to
is
figure
heading
out
a
how
bit
this
to the right.
reactor. I mean, it would imagine they would give you more time than just one day to check that
Yep.
out.
Yep.
Okay, she's got around 140 yards to go.
Well, so you don't
Looks
think
like
he
this
was
will be on
really
the
there for
dance floor.
propulsion and power?
This is what our third shot's looking like.
But what? Yeah, hang on.
Yeah, that'll work. And with this putt,
It
you
was
can
just-
save par. Good luck.
Because and he
Good.
failed the test
Oh yeah.
on the
that'll
way
do.
there, look, on the way to that point.
And for her birdie.
Yeah. And now you're gassing it to everybody. You know what I mean? Now he's telling everyone that I reckon that's what, yeah.
And good putt.
Yeah,
And you're sitting right there at 9 under par after that hole.
yeah. Because it doesn't sound like he left on good terms, does it?
Oh, it wasn't one day.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Barry was there. I think Barry was sleeping there. I'm sure they had. That isn't weird. I mean, up at the Donut Test Range where they work on stealth fighters, you
This
go, I
is
think,
an 8 iron.
3 weeks on, 1
Little
week
too
off.
much to the right.
You stay up there too, so it's not weird to stay up at the test. So,
Well,
I
let's
think
see what we've got.
he acted like he's been up there for a long time.
Yeah.
But
He's still there.
yeah, who knows?
Do you have contact with this guy?
No, oh no. I wish I did. I kind of thought he was going to come out after I did.
Right.
And I think I took so much flack and it's so much shit for what went on. I think I wound up helping security there, and everybody became afraid of
I believe that.
doing or saying anything after that.
So, what kind of reports did you have to
This
give?
one's
So you're not
heading
making
for the
much
green.
progress, right? You're just trying to figure out what this thing is, and it seems impossible. So,
Well, we didn't personally make them.
Nice
We were
work.
always,
That
there was never a lot of information
was some good golf.
that we gained.
She's putting for
The
birdie.
guy, you would call him our supervisor. His name was Dennis Mariani.
And finishing this
kind
hole
of
out
a
with a
military-looking
solid
guy, and he would routinely pop in, during the day, and hey, what's going on,
All right,
guys?
10
and
under
he
par
would
if you
essentially
sink this.
relay any information, anything new we came up with. I mean, he was our go-between, where we presented him the information, and then he took it to wherever they were.
Going towards that hole.
Assembling all the data from everybody.
Nice job.
No, it was really weird that I would be only called in on certain times and certain days. And they would be weird hours, too. Most of the time was later in the evening. I mean, I can get a call at 11 o'clock at night, and they'll say, it's now 11 o'clock. By 11:45, you need to be at the McCarran terminal, and, we'll let you know when we have more information.
but what did you do while you were there? If you're looking at this object, this reactor, and you can't figure out what it is or how it works, other than the fact that it works on this element that we don't even know about.
Sure. I mean, the thing was what you do with anything. If you're trying to analyze it, all you can do is perform tests. And all we did is try and come up with every kind of test we possibly could. I mean, we tested, it violated a lot of what we thought was impossible to violate.
What the fuck are
one
you
of
doing, Doc?
the first laws of thermodynamics, I mean, essentially, any machine, any device that operates always makes extra heat.
And they're
Nothing
going with
works
the
at 100%
5 wood.
efficient. Even the headphones you're wearing, anything that takes power, some of that power is going to be converted to heat, and it's just wasted. This didn't. I mean, we looked at back then.
Let's give it a nice
infrared cameras.
big
They're different
smash.
today, but back then you had to pour liquid nitrogen into the camera to cool the sensor down, and get these infrared images you've seen. But it never got, no matter what the load was on the reactor, it never got above ambient temperature, which is impossible. I mean, you're pulling out huge amounts of power, and nothing ever gets warm. We tried measuring magnetic fields, and there was nothing there. So we started playing around with the emission from the emitters, the gravity wave itself, and saw what we could do with it and how it was focused. So we really spent all our time
Tee shot's looking nice here.
just trying to see
That shot
what
got
the
a little
stuff can do and
bushy.
what we can control.
So
We'll
you
get
were
it back.
seeing what it could do, but you couldn't ever figure out how it was
Let's
doing
get out of this. This is a little
No, not
spinachy
really.
for my liking.
I mean, we really could only use or come up with a best guess. Now, I can't say we really that I could absolutely state for
This
certainly
could be
or certainty
slightly too
how
strong.
anything actually worked.
Now, how did you know
Yep,
at
that's
all
gonna do
how
just
they
nicely.
were piloting it? Because they were doing some tests where they were having these things fly around in the sky, and this is what gets us deeper into your story.
Right. I was out there for one test.
All right, good luck here.
Right.
You've
In
got
fact, I
22
was
feet to go.
with Barry in the lab, and Dennis came in and said, "We're about to run a test. Why don't you guys come out?" Or I think he said, "Barry, why don't you come out here and bring Bob with you?" We went out there.
Looking super.
And the craft
Boom,
was
you
already
dropped that
outside
one,
the hangar,
and that's back-to-back
and
birdie.
was just preparing to lift off. Now, they were in communication with somebody in the craft.
So there's a person in the
Was it?
craft.
Yeah,
She's
there
setting
was
up for a long
certainly
putt.
a person in there. Now, it's
What
not a
happened?
comfortable place to be in because it's small. So the guy has to be sitting on the floor in the middle, my best guess.
And this is the same specific craft that you
Yeah,
worked
that
on
was-
because that was the only craft that you went
The
on.
only one that I touched and worked on. And
And
it
that
quietly
will
lifted
drop.
off the ground, which was incredibly impressive to see.
Quietly or silently?
11
well,
under for the round.
Quietly, because
Did it make
it
some
produced
sort of a noise?
it produced a little corona discharge from the bottom. A corona discharge is kind of a high voltage brush, little bluish glow discharge. As it was lifting off the ground, you could hear a slight hiss sound, Now, as soon as it cleared the ground by about 5 or 10 feet, maybe even less than that, the hissing stopped and the blue goat disappeared. So it lifted off quietly, and then it hovered silently, if you want to be specific.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
So then what kind of maneuvers was it doing?
It took off, for that particular time, it took off, moved a little around to the left and right, and then sat back down. The craft itself, they
Looks like the
communicated
sand
with
coming
a
up.
because I saw the guy talking in a regular VHF radio to the person in the craft.
Let's put this
And
in
I
the fairway.
even saw the frequency that was on the frequency counter of the communication, the transceiver there. But what's weird is he shouldn't be able to communicate with the craft with a radio. The radio wave should bend around the craft. I mean, it shouldn't be possible. Every single thing about the craft and the way they operated didn't make any sense to us.
On the 17th.
I mean, that's something we talked about for a while after.
Why should the frequency bend around the craft?
Well, you really have to look at the way the gravity wave comes out of the craft. There's the reactor's in the center, and there's a wave that goes up to the top. There's actually a small appendage
This won't
that
be
sticks
much
out of the
fun
top
for
of the
her.
craft,
She's
and it produces a
getting out of this
heart-shaped
bunker. Let's see how
gravitational
it goes.
distortion around the craft. Now, if the craft is sitting in the air and you walk underneath it
This
and
next
look
putt
up,
will be for her birdie.
you actually cannot see the craft. The light bends around it. You're bending gravity, bends light. It bends radio waves.
And finishing this one, a good putt.
It shouldn't be possible to communicate with a craft that has an envelope around it that's distorting all forms
Okay,
of
time
energy.
to finish this one off.
But they were apparently in
And
contact.
nice putt. Let's
Somehow
move
or
on.
another, through some unexplainable way that they
Yeah.
didn't bother explaining to you. So this thing
12
gets up
under
and just
for the
does some very
round.
simple maneuvers, left, right, goes down. And did they discuss this with you? I mean, they said they wanted you to see it.
No, they just wanted, no, they didn't discuss anything with me. It sat down, we looked around for a bit, and Barry said, let's go back. We went back in the lab. All we got to do was see it. Fast forward to some months later, I did have the test flight schedule of the craft. Now, they had times they had designated high-performance tests. This obviously wasn't one
Tee shot's
that
looking decent.
was a high-performance test. The high-performance test goes above the mountain range, and they do much more radical moves with the thing. Look, this is a prize item, and they're not doing anything like taking it
You
out of the
are only
atmosphere,
one
flying
stroke
around to
away
other
from the
countries or
lead.
anything like
Right.
that.
Teeing
They
off on
just
the
play
final
with this
hole.
thing
Let's do
right
it.
over the test site. But they were doing some radical moves with it. And since I had the test flight schedule, statistically, the amount of
Along with
traffic in the surrounding areas on the highway
And she's
was
around
lowest on
170
Wednesdays.
yards out
And
here.
that's why Dennis told us that all the test flights occurred only on Wednesdays, because it'd be the least chance that anyone would see what's going on.
And this was before the government had expanded
They've gone with
the
the
forbidden
6-iron on this
territory around Area 51 and Papoose Lake and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, I think
Second
that
shot on
occurred
the 18th.
after my story came out. Then people started going up on the mountaintops and trying to look down into there, and they kind of freaked out and then did the land grab and pushed everybody back. But yeah, I think all that occurred long after
Heading for the green.
that I came out.
So you're working there, and while you're working there, you're running this crazy stuff.
Nice stroke. We're on the green.
For explaining your story. But
And
you,
from
would get the phone
downtown.
calls, you would have to
Seriously,
go
I don't
to
know how
the-
she's going to make
to
this.
the airport at 11 p.m., and your wife started thinking that you were having an affair.
Yeah, apparently so. Now, I did give my permission to have, as part of the
Shut up.
security clearance process, I gave written permission to have the phones monitored and things of that sort, so they weren't doing any
And this will
covert
take
stuff.
you to 13 under for the day.
With any Q clearance, which is civilian top secret clearance or military top secret clearance, they go talk to friends and, places you've been. Make sure you're not connected to foreign countries. But, you know, monitoring your phone is nothing unusual.
And this
However,
putt drops.
they
and that's
insisted
for birdie on
that,
the final hole.
you know, you don't even talk to your loved one, to your partner, to your wife, whatever, about what's going on. So she was essentially in the dark and didn't know the phone was being monitored. Well,
And ending things off at
part of the
13
security
under.
clearance
Well done.
is that
And
not
with
only do you
that,
not
we
have
will
any
cut
connections to
ways,
foreign
and
countries and aren't a
hopefully see you
maniac,
back here
but you have to have a stable
for
home life too.
2K21 real soon.
Well, she started having an affair with a flight instructor. Now, they were monitoring this on the phone, and they knew it, and I didn't. So they stopped me coming in, and their attitude at the time was, we need to see how this is going to play out, and if Lazar is going to get a little weird or anything. So let's just, you know, hold him off from coming in and, you know, see what happens.
And they explained this to you, what was happening?
Well, after the fact, yeah, because time kind of went on, and there were guys that were following me around, and I started getting a little concerned, going, well, shit, are they booting me out of the project? And if so, they're not just going to let me hang out at home and go get a new job knowing what I know. So as time went on, I started getting a little concerned, and I took my closest friends and just kind of got together, and I said, hey, remember that job I told you about? This is what's going on. And, like, you don't need to take my word for it. Wednesday night, we need to all go out here. I want to show you what's going on. So I took everybody, and we went out to, remember, since I had the test flight schedule, and went outside the base, out into the desert, and so everybody could see, you know, one of the high-performance tests. And, you know, it left quite an imprint on everybody, so they knew I wasn't.
And there's videos
Crazy.
of these tests, right?
Yeah, but remember, this is it's in the dark in the 80s with a big monster-sized camcorder, and you got, you know, a bright light jumping around. But, yeah, I mean, we did video of it, but there's no, by today's standards, it's...
But is
you know,
your
it's garbage.
video specifically available, the video that you took?
Yeah, well, George Knapp has it.
Is it
I give
online?
it down.
Do you know?
I have no idea.
Jeremy?
Yeah, I show clips of it in my film. It's
Right.
it's online, and someone did a deep analysis of it. It was interesting to take a look at how.
Pull this microphone up to your face. Get
to-
about a fist from your face.
All right. You know, to see how his video looks now, but as far as video evidence, I mean, we are talking 80s camcorders. The most important thing is the human story here. Everybody that he took up there on 3 separate occasions, they don't all like each other. They don't all talk. They all agree on one thing. They saw something that night at the exact point in time and space that Bob Lazar said. And remember, this is 17 miles south of Area 51. No one even knew really about Area 51. We're talking Papoose Lake, and they all agree. They saw something that night they had never seen before, and they've never seen since, right when he said it. So that's one of, like, the 6 things where I'm like, how did he know? You can dismiss him. I tried to dismiss it. But some things we can't get around, and there's about 5 or 6 of them. How did he know about those?
If Jamie wants to find that video right now, what would he look under?
Bob Lazar, UFO, S4, Area 51, just kind of like that. So it's like the S4 UFO video, Bob Lazar, and a guy does an analysis, but you're analyzing these 80s videos.
Right.
He from the very beginning, Bob never said, I have proof of my story and
still
I'm going to
there,
tell the
though.
world. He said at the very beginning, I cannot prove my story. That's not why I'm telling this. George Knapp convinced him to tell people, and he lived through it, and I didn't believe it either until I talked with George.
Okay, so you filmed this test flight, one test flight, and then you get caught.
Actually, it was, I think, the 3rd time, because we went out there the first time. Everybody saw it. Everybody was amazed because it did some radical maneuvers, and, you know, everybody had a lot to say about it.
The maneuvers that I've seen the video, it doesn't, I don't think there's something we have now that does that.
No.
Yeah,
In terms
yeah,
of
the
like a
signal's
human
still there.
piloted craft. I mean, I don't know, obviously.
You
what
in the
government-
game?
No,
with me.
it's impossible. Nothing can move like that. And remember, we didn't start filming
I was
from the
just
very
changing the
beginning.
club.
You know, we were waiting for something, you know, to happen. The craft took off, and it came flying at us, stopped, turned at a right angle, flew back, and then, after it did some, amazing stuff, we like, to get the camera, and then we started filming. So it doesn't have all of it on there; it just has some.
The way I describe it to my friends, and they said, "What does this look like?" I said, "Take a laser pointer, and then have a wall, and then move it around the wall. Like, you know how it moves around the wall? It doesn't seem like it has anything to do with inertia or physics, or it's not impeded in any way by the atmosphere."
Yeah.
That's what it looked like.
You're essentially separated from reality, as crazy as that sounds, with being encased its own gravitational envelope. Inertia is not going to affect it. And, this is how some of those recent sightings with Commander David Fravor, I'm sure you've heard of the Tic Tac UFO. I mean, he describes exactly, the thing operates exactly the way I was describing. That's why he was interested to talk to me. But we saw this, and, on the way home, it's like, hey, we got away with it. We should try it again the next test flight day. So this became a thing to do. And I think it was on the third time that we got caught. I mean,
Hello
we started.
there. My name is John. Hope you're having a
becoming
good day
little
today.
careless. I think we took
We
a motor
are
home out
teeing
there.
it up today at the Copper
it was
Dunes
like
Golf
the
Club.
stupidest thing
Let's
you
get
could
after
possibly
it.
imagine.
Start tailgating.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And
Again, you're in your 20s.
yeah, and what was funny was we went out there, and my friend Gene Huff and I were leaning on the front of a vehicle.
Let's see what she does off the tee here.
Just for some reason, we just started talking shit. Like,
not quite sure where this will end up.
Realized that I don't remember what we were saying, but that something about attacking the base or something along those lines and stealing the craft or something like that.
Something crazy.
And
someone's gonna need to
then
bite.
about 20 feet in front of us, we see a little green light fall on the ground and roll to us. And unbeknownst to us, now it's pitch black. You can't see your hands in front of your face. There were a bunch of guards standing right out there, and they had a night vision scope where they were like from here to the wall looking at us, listening to us. And the guy dropped it, and the scope rolled over to us, and you could see the green screen. We turned the lights on, and all these guys were there. So it was
almost pulled that one
so
out
we did
from the
incredibly
fairway.
stupid stuff and got caught as we
those
should
all day.
So when they catch you and they bring
This
you in,
one will be
then
for
what
her
happens?
birdie.
Well, I went in for debriefing. The following day, I went to Indian Springs Air Force Base, which is kind of a defunct base that they used to use at the nuclear test site. And this is when they brought out the transcript of the phone call with my wife. And, they sat me down and we said, when we meant to keep the secret, we meant you can't tell your friends, right?
Nicely done
just
for the
being
birdie.
sarcastic and trying to. And then they got real serious. But this is where they, took the transcript out and were reading me what my wife and, our friend were talking about. And I don't know, it was a hard time.
So what happens from there?
That'd destroy you, wouldn't you?
Why don't they arrest you?
I don't know. I don't know why. I'm not sure they knew what to do, but they did let me go that night, and I went home. And this is kind of when the most stressful part started.
Because you're realizing that you're being monitored.
Yeah,
24/7.
now I know. Not only am I being monitored, but now I know I'm in trouble. And it wasn't a short time after that I contacted. At that time, the only investigative reporter I had heard of in Las Vegas was George Knapp, and told him some of the story because I had no idea what the hell was going to happen at that point.
So
starting our round under par,
tries
better
to
way
dissect your story, tries to find holes in it, tells it, puts it online, and makes everybody aware of it, and that's how I found out about it.
Yeah, to make a long story short.
What happens? Yeah, to really make a long story short. What happens
Wind
from
is going
there on?
right to left
do they
out there.
contact you and say, "Hey, Bob, it's probably a good idea if you shut up"? Did they try to label you as crazy? Was there?
There were a lot of things that happened at, between that point. I'm leaving out a lot of stuff to fill in the story. We'd have to.
All right, let's see how she plays this one.
Well, I really don't want to talk about that. The
top secret weapons stuff that you were working on.
No, I'm talking about the 115. Well, I don't know. I have to think about how I'd...
What is the problem?
Oh, this one's in the fairway.
I don't want to get myself into more trouble by admitting something, so I just have to dance around a couple.
He was rated
Let's see what she
during the
does. She's
filming of
around
the movie. People thought it was
85 yards
By
out.
the way.
Thanks, Joe.
And it's on Netflix right
No,
now.
don't
if
watch
anybody
it.
wants to check it
If
out.
anyone's
And if you're
listening,
one of those
please don't
people
watch
like
this.
me, who, you know, I've always
Watch this
loved
now.
the
It's on
idea of
now. Joe
UFOs.
Rogan
I
podcast.
became
But don't
extremely
watch.
Shots,
weird
coming towards the
talking to
green
people
nicely.
who are UFO believers and UFO fanatics, because there's so many of them that are full of shit. And not just full of shit, they're childishly delirious.
And second shot here
like
on
the way
the
they
second
talk
hole.
about things. I mean, there's so many people that I'm in contact. They reach me in the night and they explain to me what we're doing to the ocean is wrong, and like you're like, okay.
This is one of the reasons
That's
I didn't
what I
want
was
to do
saying.
the show.
I'm sure.
Well, no, it's no, yeah, well, it's no joke. We've had people literally camp out on our front lawn, and you know, in some ways I can relate to some of these people. You know, maybe some of them did really have some kind of experience or saw something, and all their friends think they're crazy. But hey, now there's this guy I heard on the radio, and at least he knows I'm not full of shit, so I gotta talk to him.
Right.
And so most of the correspondence I get are people trying to get a hold of me, going, Bob, you gotta listen to me. I'm coming to talk to you. I'm driving from Oklahoma or whatever, but some of them are just fucking batshit crazy, and they're frightening.
There's a lot of schizophrenics that are involved in
You asleep,
the
Doc?
conspiracy world. There's a lot of people that have real issues.
Joe, it would be a disservice to your audience to not
Duh.
say that.
Here's what you're looking at for birdie.
You have to look at what's going on now and understand. I've heard on your
Yeah, I
show
can
a bunch
hear.
of stuff
Yeah,
about
I hear.
what's going on now, and to not really understand what's going on now, you can't see Bob's story in the correct light after 30 years. And at some point we should just touch upon that. The biggest being that things like the Tic Tac UFO case that came out, I've heard people, even on the show, say, oh, there's a glitch in the radar.
This next putt's for
That's a
her
data
par.
poor perspective. You just don't know yet what's really going on. Commander Fravor, I was able to get the interview with him to talk to him way before it became
All
public.
right, that putt'll go.
I got that from him. He saw it. Other pilots saw it. This is a big thing that's going on right now. They had more sightings
Okay,
on
give
the
this
East
one a
Coast
tap, and
recently.
we will mosey on our way.
With spherical oars. These are not
And a solid
aerodynamic.
hole
And these are the
tapping in
people we
for par.
trust to defend us on 9/11. Commander Fravor protected Los Angeles on 9/11. So we trust
All right,
them, but they're not
staying
trained
at one
observers.
under after that one.
Radar, individuals see these things, and the big one, just to throw down so we can consider a story a little differently, there's more depth to it. The big one is the United States government has admitted that they have been continuously studying the UFO phenomenon.
Careful
That
out there,
program
wind's going left
was
to right
called
on this hole.
ATIP, was called OSAP. That's the mother program. George Knapp got that out. They announced through the New York Times about ATIP, but OSAP, these acronyms, OSAP, Advanced Aerospace Weapon Systems Applications Program. Who cares? That was the mother program. So they've admitted we didn't stop studying UFOs in 1969 with Project Blue Book. We don't think it's crazy. We actually want to
Let's see
reverse
what she
engineer the
does off
technology.
the
That's
tee.
why on your other show, you said, what's this AAV thing? It's like they're making up another UFO name. Well, hold on. There's a reason. Because in the documents, the DIA documents that George Knapp released, that everybody said was fake till now they know is real, they call them AAVs, which is Advanced Aerospace Vehicles. People are getting the acronyms wrong. So the reason for the terminology change is so that we can mimic what we're reading in the DIA documents. People can look for that now. So they changed the names to get people away from UFO or UAP, even like Hillary Clinton said on air, right? So
What are you talking about? Hillary Clinton said that.
Hillary Clinton informed the public on Jimmy Kimmel, oh, Jimmy,
Taking
we
this
don't
one
call
with the
them
8
UFOs
iron.
anymore. We call them UAPs, Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon. Right? So she kind of was getting, the Clintons are very into
All right, if
the
we
UFO
can sink
topic.
this,
Senator Reid,
snatch a birdie
he's
and be
done
on
a
our
lot
way.
for the subject, the study of it, right? So she informed the public so they could look for the right term. So these terms are important because the DIA, in those documents, they've been calling them AAVs for quite some time now.
And they changed the name to anomalous.
No, that's kind of a
Advanced?
misnomer.
No?
So they always mess
Looking
around with
very
things,
nice.
but it's actually advanced.
Oh man,
Right, but when they're
Aerospace.
describing it in
Fun
the news, they're
putt
calling it
to
anomalous
watch
aerospace
from
vehicle.
way
Totally, and that's cool. They were
out
also
there.
saying
Great
anomalous aerospace threats, AAT, right? Because they want the sense
She's
of a threat.
way
So my point
out
is,
here
all of
from the
if
cup.
people don't know this,
This
now
is
and they
not
think this stuff
the kind of
is
putt you want to
fantasy.
have.
This
Glad
part of it, that
it's
we're
her and
studying
not
it,
me.
that we take it seriously, we're spending money on it, and that we're getting great data from visual pilots to radar. That's why we know it's aerospace. They dropped from 80,000 feet, but guess what? That's the top scope of the Spy 1 radar is 80,000 feet. So the radar system they
And
were
as
using,
she
it
sets
was
up,
coming
she's
from
got
above
21
that.
feet to the hole.
So my point is this: if you don't understand that this is happening, you're just behind the curve because you don't have the information because of the stigma that you're talking about. I saw you get totally upset with the UFO topic. I met you first when you were totally upset with the UFO topic. It's the people. When you're doing your, I'm sorry, man. When you're doing your show, you know, the Joe Rogan Questions Everything, I could see how frustrating it is. Trust me, I have been frustrated to hell. Luckily, my
And
mentor is George
it
Knapp, and he's
drops.
taught me the pitfalls as I went through
And
it.
that has kept
My
you
whole
at
point in this
200
rant
putt.
right here is just that we have to now look at Bob's story, but knowing the facts, not someone saying it's a bird, it's a plane, it's a glitch. They're not. And so if you don't know that, you just don't have the information yet.
Well, not just that, knowing the facts as we know them in 2019, not in
Wind's picking up out
1988.
there. We got a headwind on
Absolutely.
this hole.
And so what has he said that has come true? He's totally unimpressed with it, right? What has he said that's come true? So I was like, Bob, they've announced gravity is a wave.
Looks like a
You were
fairway
right,
off
and
the
you're
tee
vindicated.
here.
And he looks at me and he's like, well, if you think about it, Jeremy, I had like a 50-50 chance. He was
Well,
not
here she
very
goes.
impressed, right?
When did they announce gravity as a wave?
So they detected, in a sense, they detected gravity waves, and that was,
Who is they?
you might know more. There's two black holes that were colliding, and that's how they were able to detect.
Yeah, somebody built, I don't know which group it was or what part of the government.
That's what Google's for.
And from here, we're
Yeah.
looking at
Would it?
about
But
230
they,
yards or so.
You know, built a gigantic gravity wave detector and pretty much detected.
That there are such
Bolt, using the
things
driver
as
off the
gravity
fairway.
waves.
First
I'll take
observation of gravitational waves, it says it was in 2016. Okay, the first observation of gravitational waves was made on 14th of September 2015, as announced by the LIGO and Virgo collaborators on 11th of February 2016. Previously, gravitational waves had only been inferred indirectly via their effect on the timing of pulsars in binary star systems. Dun, dun, dun. The waveform, connected by both LIGO observatories, matched the predictions of general relativity for a gravitational wave emanating from the inward I'm trying to get this, from the inward spiral
she's in
and
that
merger
bunker.
of a pair of black
Let's see what
holes
happens.
around 36 and 29 solar masses and the subsequent ring down of the single resulting black hole. Whoa.
Well,
Yeah, it's not. He was
in the 80s, the predominant theory was gravity is produced by gravitons.
Okay.
You know, theoretical particles. But they're not. They're waves. They're not particles. And that's
So the thought is that the way we experience gravity, it's based on mass, which is why the moon, which is roughly 1/4 the size of the Earth, has 1/6 of the Earth's gravity. So there's some sort of a computation you can make based on mass.
right. And remember, we can observe the effects of gravity, but we have no idea what it is. All we can do is observe it, and we
Okay,
can't
here's
make
a
it.
third
The only way
shot.
you can make gravity is just put more mass together, and it's
So-
just a product of gravity. But if you can if you have a machine that makes gravity, you can pretty much do anything.
Just
You
off
can
the
affect
pin, out of
time.
the sand.
You can
Nice
have
work.
force fields. All that
Good job
stuff
getting
that's
out
in
of that
science
bunker.
fiction
Little work
becomes
left to do,
reality
but nothing serious.
if you have a machine
Let's
that can make
keep her
gravity.
going. That's
And
two
what we
birdies in a
worked
row.
on in the
That's number
desert was a machine that makes gravity.
I love your analogy of dropping off a small nuclear reactor to the Victorian era.
She's got a
I love that
4-foot putt to
that
go.
analogy, because back then that was impossible. That was magic. What you're talking about here, the fact that they just discovered this 4 years ago, that this is a wave, and we're, as much as we know and as impressed as we are, as we should be, with how much more technologically advanced we are than every other creature on this planet, we're still, in many ways, in the adolescence of technological innovation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If even adolescence.
And when you're talking about this binary star system, Zeta Reticuli, and who knows how much longer these things have been around than us, who knows what their evolutionary cycle's been, who knows what, I mean, we might be talking about something that's a million years more advanced than us.
Yeah, it could easily be. Now, I'm not in, believe it or not, I'm not into UFOs. I don't follow stories or, you know.
Even after your experiences?
No, I'm fascinated with the technology, and it really irks me like every night I go to sleep that, you know, that it was my own doing, essentially, that prevented me from continuing on in the project. I mean, it's that to be on that cutting edge of technology is so alluring to me.
Right.
But, you know, by the same token, I don't really care that there's aliens or where they come from. I mean, the prize is the technology, and that's what I'm fascinated by. But so I don't listen to UFO stories and that sort of thing. But George Knapp is, I mean, he's the guy that has the contacts and tries to thread everything together. And what he recently told me is he found, I don't know, it was either documentation or people that he spoke to. It's that the existence of this project, the project that I was on, it's something that they seem to take out every 8 or 10 years.
So that's a very specific memo, and this is actually, this is the first time I'll be very clear with people about it. It's a big topic of conversation right now. It's called the Wilson Memo. You can look it up. Admiral Wilson met with a scientist who's actually was featured in one of my films. Everybody has been debating whether or not this document of a conversation with a sitting admiral at the time is a real document. It's an actual conversation that happened, and this document is real. Everybody wants to know. The world is going crazy right now in the UFO world. I'll tell you straight up right now, I'm in the position to know, and it is a real document, that it is real. So the conversation you read in that conversation was had. I can't attest to every...
You're not being very clear.
Sure.
Please.
No problem. So there was a document that is circulating right now that is really big. It's going around everywhere. People are asking and wondering.
What is this document?
It's called the Wilson Memo, is how you can find it online. Or the Wilson Leak.
There it is. Jimmy's got it. The Wilson Memorandum.
13-foot putt?
Use of human volunteers.
No. No, that's not it.
Okay.
Yeah. So Admiral Wilson meets with this scientist, and they have this discussion, oddly enough, at special projects at EG&G. And if I remember, the document is from 2001. I'm telling everybody right now, it's real. And we'll see. My history is pretty good with, like, saying if something's real or not, right? So here we go. The document comes out. They meet at EG&G special projects. In 1989, they stumble into a problem. This happens. They put the technology away, and then they bring it back out and see if material science has caught up and if they can make any progress. So this document kind of talks about this process. The big thing I get from it, and a lot of it's vindicating to Bob, and one of the things that's vindicating, besides the EG&G thing, is that private industry, so this guy's an admiral, and he says, I found out about your SAP, your Special Access Program. I need to know about it. And he's going to a private part of industry, and he is denied access. And he says, I should be running this program. And they were able to deny him access. So I think the takeaway here is, check it out. I'm telling you that is an actual correct, that is a leak. Now, everything said in that document, I don't know.
What are you talking about? What is said in that document specifically?
It's between a scientist and an admiral that are sitting, and they're having a meeting, and they're talking about the search for the UFO subject, the search to get Special Access Program access to all of these different things, like reverse engineering programs. So in this document, they talk about it. I believe that this document, the person that went was employed by Robert Bigelow, one of the guys that has a couple orbiting satellites and all that stuff.
He's the guy who owns Skinwalker Ranch.
This next putt will be for par. She's got a 9-footer here.
See, are you asleep?
Oh, man. And this will be your par putt here. All right, moving forward.
What's tapping on the mic going like that? Is it horrible?
Here it comes. Double bogey putt coming up for her.
Yeah.
That'll bring you up to 3 under
I
par.
thought you'd fell asleep. Yeah.
Okay, let's just drop this on the green.
That Bobbler's R thing does that to you as well, doesn't it?
Come on, ball. Kick right. Well, better luck
That
next
was
time.
shit.
All right, let's see what she does here. Here's their 7-iron. This was leaning to the right. Well, what's she gonna do here? She's in the sand. Well, let's find out. Here's our second shot on this 6th hole. That'll work. Okay, she's got 15 feet.
Doc. That wasn't that long.
And a 16-footer for her.
You asleep or something, Doc? As it
And
fucks you
triple
up.
bogey coming up, hopefully. Hopefully. She's got a 4-foot putt from here. And that putt will drop. Okay, this one's a 3-footer. There's your par. And you currently sit at 3 under par. careful of the headwind out there. Oh, effortlessly done. Nice swing. And here she goes. I don't know. This one could go either way.
Sand.
Okay, here's our second shot here on the 7th hole. I'm having that. And let's see how she gets out of this one.
No, you fucked it here, Doc. You fucked it on this shot. Oh, that was pretty close.
Here's a look for birdie. That was a good putt. Four feet to go. And that drops for your 4th birdie of the day. Bringing things down to 4 under after that one. Teeing off here on a short par 5 hole. Silky swing. Alrighty, let's see what she's got here.
Doc. It's your shot, man.
And let's see what happens. She's around 235 yards out.
And again.
Here's their 3-wood. All right, second shot on the 8th.
You're up again, Doc. That was close.
Setting up here now for our 3rd shot. zipped right by, didn't it? This one for the birdie.
We've got 2 people in here watching now.
So far, so good. As that drops, that marks down your 5th birdie so far today. She's got 4 feet to go here.
You asleep, Doc?
And that one drops for the birdie.
Do you want to call it a night, Doc? Because we're only at the 9th hole.
And after that one, you're bringing your score down to 5 under.
We'll quit out of this, yeah? Yeah. I didn't think you were going to make it through another 9.
4.
You sound like you're falling asleep to me, mate. I know.
Come on now, give us a nice little fairway lie. All right,
There's actually 2 people sitting watching as well. I don't know who they are. Big shout out to the viewers watching at crazy times. There's people like me that can't sleep as well.
Yep,
I was actually thinking about going and cooking some food, I was.
Here's an 8-footer.
Blue screen. Well, you've been cancelled. You quit out anyway, didn't you?
Looking pretty good. Shaping up out here. That's birdie number 6 on the day.
Yeah, I've got 2 people watching my stream right now.
And after that one, you're at 6.
One of them's probably you.
Well, see if you can use the tailwind on this hole.
Someone's watching. Nobody knows who.
I think I'll take that tee shot. Looks good. Let's see what you have on the second shot here on the 10th. That should do nicely. Here we go. This one for birdie. Good try on that one. Okay, time to finish up. And tapping this one in for par. Well done. Okay, so that will keep you at 6 under for the round. Here comes the 11th hole. I don't think you're going to like this.
Ah, Jesus.
All right, time to get out of the bunker. Let's do this. All right, back into the fairway. Now, let's set our sights on the pin.
Hey, I'm going to jump off the stream now anyway and say goodbye to the viewers. I'll see you later, viewers. See you soon.